Okay, so let's talk about The Boys. We all know it, right? It's that massive Prime Video hit that just completely flips the whole superhero thing upside down. But what if I told you that this incredible show is built on a comic book that most of its biggest fans would probably, well, despise? Yeah, seriously. Let's dig into that.
I mean, think about it. The show we watch, it's loved for its smart satire, right? The characters have actual depth. So, how in the world did that show come from a comic book that is just so unrelentingly nasty and offensive? So much so that, yeah, if you love the show, there's a good chance you'd hate the comic. That's the puzzle we're going to piece together today.
All right, so first up, the phenomenon itself. I mean, there's no denying it, right? The TV show version of The Boys is an absolute smash hit. It's just genius how it skewers our own world by showing us these corrupt corporate-controlled soups. Millions of us are glued to our screens watching Butcher and the gang go up against these nightmare soups. But here's the thing that a lot of people just don't get. The journey from the comic book page to the TV screen, well, it wasn't just an adaptation. It was a complete and total reinvention. The source material is, and I mean this, a whole other animal. So just how different are we talking? Well, let's really get into it. We're going to look at the massive changes in the tone, the plot, even the entire message that makes the comic and the show two totally different things. Okay, so to really understand the comic, you've got to know about the guy who created it, Garth Ennis. Now, Ennis is a legend in comics, but he has been super open about one thing. He pretty much hates superheroes. So the comic, it's not some clever deconstruction. Nope. Think of it more like a 90-issue-long hate letter aimed squarely at the entire genre. And its main goal was just to provoke and offend. So the first huge difference you'll see is what they're actually making fun of. The comic, which came out in the mid-2000s, was really taking aim at the Bush and Cheney administration, the whole military-industrial complex. The show, though, it smartly updates all of that to be completely laser-focused on right now. Things like right-wing populism, corporate power, and our insane celebrity culture. And it's not just what they're satirizing, it's how. The comic is just relentless. It's all about shock value, over-the-top gore, and what can only be described as pure edgelord humor. The show, on the other hand, while it's still plenty violent, makes a crucial trade. It swaps a lot of that shock value for real emotional depth. It gives the characters, yep, even the villains, so much more nuance. And that change is absolutely key. Now this next one, this might be the biggest plot change of them all. See, in the comics, Butcher's team actually injects themselves with Compound V. They get powers to fight soups on their own level. But in the show, they've got nothing. They're totally powerless. And that one simple change just skyrockets the stakes. It turns them from just a bunch of superpowered brawlers into true underdogs, regular people who have to try and outsmart actual gods. I saw this quote from a fan online that just nails the difference perfectly. It said, "The comic is edgelord humor. The show is cultural satire." And that's really it, isn't it? One is just a raw, blunt attack on a genre its creator dislikes. The other is a much smarter, more sophisticated critique of the world we're all living in. Okay, so we've established they're two wildly different things. The big question then is, how? How on earth did the showrunners take this incredibly abrasive, some would say unadaptable comic, and turn it into a massive hit? Well, it looks like they had a pretty clear four-step playbook. Step 1, take away the team's superpowers. You gotta have that underdog dynamic. Step 2, inject some serious emotional depth into these characters. Step 3, update all the social commentary to make it relevant for the social media age. And step 4, and this one is probably the most important, they completely reframe some of the comic's most tasteless and controversial scenes. And if you want a perfect example of that last point, just look at Starlight's initiation into the Seven. In the comic, it's handled like a grotesque, shocking, frankly awful joke. The show, however, does the exact opposite. It treats it as a deeply traumatic and realistic event. It actually explores the real-world fallout from sexual assaults and the abuse of power, stuff the comic just wasn't interested in. But here's where it gets really meta. This super smart approach to satire, it doesn't just stay on the screen. The show's whole critique of corporate media has actually spilled out into the real world, thanks to something they've built called the Vought marketing machine. What they've done is they've basically mastered this thing called immersive marketing. The idea is that the fictional company from the show, Vought International, literally exists in our world. It's got its own social media accounts, its own news reports, its own websites, All of it is designed to make the world of the boys feel, well, frighteningly real. And the scale of this thing is just wild. Seriously. Vought has official accounts on X, Instagram, you name it. They produce an entire in-universe news show called 7 on 7. There is a fully functioning website for Godolkin University from the spinoff show Gen V. They even make in-universe podcasts like The Truth Bomb and do collaborations with real brands. It is an absolute masterclass in blurring the lines between fiction and our own reality. And you know, all of this, it brings us to one final and maybe the biggest question of all. In its mission to satirize our crazy world, has the show accidentally just become another reflection of it? Lately, the parallels have become, well, shockingly direct. You've got Homelander's rise as this populist strongman, which has been compared to the political ascent of Donald Trump. The show's Herogasm Files scandal was seen by many as a direct riff on the real-world release of the Epstein files, and new characters like Firecracker feel like obvious stand-ins for some real-life partisan commentators. At this point, the line between the show and our world isn't just blurred, it's practically erased. And here's maybe the most ironic twist of all. The show's satire is so sharp, it cuts so close to the bone that it's gotten caught in this crazy political tug-of-war. You have viewers from both the left and the right who watch the exact same show and walk away completely convinced that it's a brilliant takedown of the other side. So that leaves us with one last really fascinating thought. The show is, without a doubt, a brilliant mirror held up to our divided culture. But here's the question. In holding up that mirror, has it accidentally just given us one more flag to fight over? I guess that's the ultimate test of satire, isn't it? Is it supposed to bring us together by showing us the absurdity of it all, or does it just end up giving us new ammo for the same old fights? Definitely something to chew on.